Codependency is a very fragile thing, derived from limitations and weaknesses we put on ourselves to make our own way in life. In the form of a seemingly helpful hand or a bottle that cradles our worry away, we begin a downward slope towards self-destruction. That is, until we stand on our own 2 feet and learn to walk for our own sake. In a surprising turn of cinematic events, 2016's fantasy drama Colossal opts to diverge from the huge footsteps of King Kong or Godzilla and make its own path as a wayward expression of inner turmoil. The story centers on party girl Gloria, played by Anne Hathaway, who, having recently been kicked out of her boyfriend's home, moves back to her childhood town. Gloria meets up with an old friend, played by Jason Sudeikis, and after a series of drunken wanderings, realizes that she may be controlling a giant monster that recently attacked Seoul, South Korea. Things take an even darker turn when she discovers that there are other monsters that lurk closer than expected. One distinction that separates Colossal from the typical kaiju film is that the previously mentioned creature is not the main focus or threat in the narrative. It would better serve the audience to not divulge much information regarding some plot details, but there is a refreshing piece of humanity ever present. Although it is subtle, the humor is there too, balanced quite nicely to the scenes where Gloria tries to adapt to her small town roots by mingling at a local bar her friend owns. These critical relationship building moments come into play as the story goes on and add a more defined contrast to some of the more heavy sequences in the movie. The amount of detailed CGI incorporated into the monster scenes is also worthy of praise, considering the independent production limitations of Colossal. In a twist of irony, some moments of collateral damage are even more captivating than the bigger blockbusters with computer-generated stars. Take notes, Michael Bay. Since, at its core, Colossal is essentially a drama based around inner human struggle, the cast must be versatile and believable enough in their roles as players in a game of fantastic proportions. For the most part, the ensemble fits those qualifications, albeit for some secondary characters that really serve no purpose other than to incite minute conflict. Hathaway is a very likable lead that isn't really revolutionary in her approach, but resonates an endearing vulnerability in the role she plays, mostly as a woman at a crossroads with herself in the bottle. Sudeikis stars alongside her as a childhood friend named Paul, and his part is anything but underwhelming. The character development is palpable with this one, adding more of an original edge to an already innovative concept. The narrative, with its semi-downtrodden characters, angry pulses, and surges of toxic masculinity, examines the pain of addiction and the struggle of recovery. The monster at the core of its players is at large, transferring the destruction of wrath and drink into that of city-leveling creatures. Despite a seemingly lighthearted trailer, viewers might be surprised to find that there is a larger message at work besides giant monster fights in Colossal. This twist also isn't the stale, shoehorned humans are the real monsters either. There is an essence of hope and redemption, while Hathaway's physical and metaphorical monsters are only the turning point in discovering something that rectifies her lost identity. Some of the other characters' motivations might be blurred and abandoned, but Gloria's are easily translated as the plot progresses, and in the end, that is what drives home Colossal's unconventional fantasy tale. The film had a limited release, only amassing $4.5 million of its $15 million budget at the box office. Critic consensus, however, was largely positive for the thematic symbols and dramatic tonal shifts that promotional trailers had left out. Delivering a larger-than-life allegory that teeters on some underdeveloped ideas, Colossal constructs an over-the-top what-if scenario that beams with simplistic charm and unpredictability. This is anchored by a consistency of big-city destruction meshing with a smaller foreground of abusers and the victims they torment. Colossal works despite some moments where its concept leans towards silliness. Aggressive caricatures are purposely left all too familiar to the monstrous avatars they control, and it makes for an unexpectedly emotionally ripe experience. The film's depth of tone and meaning define the experience, making a statement that reaches new heights.